Now to introduce our awesome guest today. I've been looking forward to this one for a while, so I'm really excited to get you in here, man. He's the owner of Imposed Will. He's a father. He's a jiu-jitsu black belt, a wrestling coach, the fight commentator for Shamrock FC, the former host of the Outside Perspective podcast, and a retired MMA fighter. The great and powerful Adam Meredith.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's I've been wanting to get you in here for a while, so really glad you're here. So I guess let's start off. And you have your company Imposed Will. What is Imposed Will?
Yeah. Good question. I feel like this is just like my day-to-day life. I mean, sometimes I always forget like what day it is. Like every day is just today, right? But dude, essentially, man, we're just a lifestyle and apparel brand. We're really heavy in the jiu-jitsu space right now. We're expanding into just general athletic wear and other team sports. But ultimately, man, our mission is just really to help regular people become their best mentally and physically. The how that'll change and evolve as time goes, but we try to lead by example and just help people, become better.
Yeah. So how'd you get started? What made you want to start an apparel company?
Dude, I always wonder like what attracts you to something. For whatever reason, I've just always had this draw to sell clothes. I don't know why. You know what I mean? Like I remember like trying to figure out like what entrepreneurship is. Like how do I get into this thing? Like whenever I was in college, like I was in an entrepreneurship club and I took all these courses and whatnot. And I was like, man, like how do you figure out what your thing is? Because you're especially when you're young, you're trying to figure out what's something new, what's this groundbreaking idea that somebody else hasn't done, and it can kind of you start getting like this paralysis by analysis. But whenever I was fighting, I don't know, I just had the idea of just starting this brand. It was initially going to be, just like a fight word line. You think like, that's kind of like the goal of fighting, right? Like you want to impose your will and dominate like another human being. I mean, that was very much the attraction for me with fighting because I'm not really a fighter. Some people really enjoy fighting. They want to get in there and like they love the scrap. I've just always been an athlete, and I've always really enjoyed just like the domination aspect. It's like you can't do anything about it. So there's that is what really drew me to the sport. But yeah, no, dude. It was like after a fight, I was sitting in a bar with a couple buddies, and we're having like a post fight drink, and I was like, dude, I will. Like I just for whatever reason, just like that tagline just stuck with me. So that was just kind of like the birth of starting this brand. So, and this was in back like,
Yeah, when did this start?
dude, that was probably 2000. And I have the exact date written down. It's either the end of 2009 or the beginning of 2010.
Oh, damn.
So it was it was a long time ago, right? So for the longest time, I put the brand just like in a hobby bucket. So I made like a couple T-shirts and like a hoodie. I tried to do the thing right out of like undergrad because I graduated in 2010, my bachelor's, and I got on Alibaba, found a supplier in China, got a couple samples in, and their minimums were just so big at the time, and I just had my second kid, so I was like a young married guy, 2 kids, just trying to figure out in the world. And so I just kind of always just kept it as a hobby. So it was always with me throughout my fight career, but it was never really a business. It wasn't until, I guess, 2021 that I decided to just go all in on it, like as a business, just to eliminate the distractions, nothing else. I had stopped fighting in 2017. So it's been a while since then. I did the podcast, that took a significant amount of time. And also that was like a distraction because that was kind of the forefront. I thought I could do them both, but I feel like anyone who tells you can do more thing and be like super successful at it is kind of lying to you. Like you really need to go all in.
Yeah, we've talked about that multiple show, and like Tim Grover says it best from his book. If you want to be the best at something, you're going to be the worst at everything else.
Yeah,
because if you want to be the best, you're going to give up everything else, and
you just have to.
Yeah, you have to. You have to.
Yeah.
So it makes complete sense how exactly what you're saying. Makes complete sense.
Yeah, dude. And also, so, if I wanted to have like a number one podcast and I also wanted to have a very successful brand, there's somebody else out there who's solely focusing on that thing, right? So I'm giving 50% of my energy towards something they're putting 100% all in on.
And you're never going to catch up.
Yeah, it's kind of arrogant to think that I could. So I just decided to get rid of all the distractions and just go all in.
Just go all in on it.
Yeah.
So now like financially that your full thing has been Imposed Will for a while now, I guess.
Yeah, man. It's working out. We've grown quite a bit. I've completely
Yeah.
bootstrapped this whole business, but it's growing.
And you guys
like,
have a facility, or you have a
yeah, dude, got an office.
and-
Got a company vehicle, like all paid for by the company.
Sweet.
We've been able to grow to like 6 figures in sales, but I mean that's still just like a drop in the bucket, especially when you start looking at where we can really go and
Yeah,
where,
but you're
where
still
the goal
young, man.
is. So
Yeah, you're still young, you're still growing, and I mean, over the last, man, like really since like 2021, really, and ever since I came to Watson's, that's when I really started seeing like imposed will stuff like all over. Everybody rocking the geese.
Yeah.
And
dude,
the
I
rash
wish we
guards
could
and
get
the-
Kyle. He's a show your old guy.
Oh,
I wish we could
yeah.
steal him.
Yeah, he would be a good one. Maybe someday.
Oh,
Yeah.
he'd be perfect.
Dude, I mean, he's just. But I mean, regardless, everybody's gym still rocks your stuff. I mean, everybody wants to support the local guy too.
Yeah, we're pretty fortunate. I don't think you can go into a jiu-jitsu gym, at least not in this city, and not find our gear.
Right.
But we've gotten so much love from Tag Team. It's been amazing.
Yeah.
Just that whole team has just been super receptive.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So-
Especially you not being a tack team guy yourself, right? I mean, you're St. Charles, you're a Vaggie guy, right?
Yeah.
That's where you got your black belt.
Yeah, and that gets really weird in the jiu-jitsu space, right? Like it gets kind of like everybody wants to be a gang and kind of stick with their clique. I'm such a chameleon. I feel pretty fortunate that I'm pretty cool with pretty much everybody in the community, right? So I've never really let that old school mentality of like, oh, my team's better than your team. Yeah, I don't let that get in the way of business for sure. I'm definitely Switzerland.
For sure. Yeah. Right. That's the right move to be if you want to, expand your brand to the most amount of people possible.
Yeah,
I mean, it just
100%. We're all just doing jiu-jitsu.
right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with jujitsu. I feel like, I don't know, I've not experienced a ton of the gangy clique kind of
Yeah.
like personally in my experience. Every coach I've ever had has always been cool with cross training and all that kind of stuff. So, I've never cared about what we wear in the gym. I mean, Kyle's one rule is he just doesn't like funky colored gis. So like our one rule is black, white, or blue, and that's it. Like, okay, I can stick to that.
For sure.
He just doesn't want like tie-dye gis and shit. So
Yeah, you guys have a great culture.
Yes.
Without a doubt. And I think you've come into the space at a time where that train of thought, whereas like my team versus your team, is definitely it's with an older generation.